Hey everyone, this is Marty with Team Beige, and today we are actually with my second place locals deck profile. So last night I went to locals under the new set and the new ban list. We voted it in just to be able to play it, and things went really well. I played Springans Kashtira, and I'm super excited to share this list with you guys. Yeah, it was just so much fun to play last night. Matchups were 2-0 against Runic. We were just able to combo and just overwhelm him and kind of just out his stuff. Game 2, we played against, I literally just had to redo this, and so now I'm just forgetting all my matchups. 2-1 against Labyrinth. He went first, game 1, set a board, I couldn't break it. Game 2, grinded it out, I did damage and won. And then game 3, he misplayed and completely forgot he actually had Torrential set. And so I was just able to attack, do damage in the battle phase, and then it was time, so I won. Game 3, won against Speedroid. Speedroid was usually my games at my locals are like fairly competitive. Like last format, it was all tier Shizu, all Sprite. So this was kind of like a little odd one. But 2-1, game 1 set up a combo, he couldn't break it. And also he bricked. Game 2, he set up combo, I couldn't break it, and then game 3, I set up combo with an insane card in my side deck that we'll get to later, and you'll hear me talk about again. Game 4 was against Adventure Plunder with a new support. Really cool deck, by the way. Game 1, I went first, comboed and won. Game 2, he was able to set up a board, he bricked, set up a mini board, and I broke it, but it wasn't enough for me to keep going due to some of his hand traps. And then game 3, I was able to set up a board, and he just couldn't play through the amount of interruptions without me then going to the next turn and killing him. And then final match was against Sword Soul, which is when I lost. Game 1, he set up a board that I couldn't break. Game 2, I set up a board, and with another crazy trap card in my side deck, the same one from before, which you can probably guess what that is, and won, and he scooped. And then game 2, I just kind of opened a really weird hand that I couldn't do anything with, going second, even though I had the interruptions, or the going second cards, and so it just didn't really matter in the end. But let's get right into it. Again, this is Springans Kashtira, which is, in my opinion, this is a very fun list. We're playing 2 Springans Rocky, 2 Springans Brothers, 1 Springans Captain Sargus, 1 Springans Branga, and 3 Springans Kit. So everyone knows Kit from Branded. If you have a Fallen of Albaz Fusion Grave, you can special her, and then on normal or special, you can add a branded spell or trap from deck to hand, and then place a card from your hand to the bottom of the deck. You're always adding High Spirits in this list to get your plays going, and also just search her. All the Springans have an effect on in hand, field, or grave. They can attach themselves to a Springans XYZ and give it a material. Rocky adds a Springans monster from grave to hand. Brothers, when sent from hand or deck to grave, you can target a Springans monster in your grave and special it in defense. Sargus, during your opponent's turn, you can detach a material from an Xyz monster you control to target a face-up card in the field and destroy it. Your opponent's card, and then Branga, banish it and a Springans monster to add a Springans card. I thought these ratios were pretty good. Maybe I might squeeze in a Pedor, he is a tribute himself to special summon from the grave. So that might be good later in the grind game, considering sometimes I was just searching these to use not as for their effects, but just sort of as level 4 bodies. So yeah. Sargus is a part of our end board if we can get High Spirits going, because you just set up any XYZ and you're able to combo. Now this is where things get a little crazy for Springans. I'm only playing 3 Springan spells, and that's 3 of the new Tally-Ho Springans. This card is insane. Upon activation, if you control an Xyz monster, you can detach materials from it, and then you can add a Springans monster from deck to hand. Then you can special summon Springans monsters from hand or grave up to the number of materials detached. They don't have to be Springans materials that you've detached. They can be like literally any materials, but you get to special summon up to that number. This card's absolutely insane. It's the Rhoda for the deck, it's Soul Charge, it gets your combo going, and this card, I think, plunged the deck into, at least, in my opinion, I think this deck could maybe be seen at a regional level. I would love to see it at a YCS level, but who knows. But yeah, we're only playing three of this, and no other Springans spells. The reason I'm not playing Great Sea Golgonda is because I personally think that while those are good cards, and there are 9 ways to Golgonda, which makes it super consistent, it takes a lot of setup, and it requires you to always have a Springans card, and I really didn't want to brick on either not having a Springans card to pitch with Golgonda, or the opposite of having too many Golgondas, or Golgonda booty, tally ho, just that and nothing in case I had to go second. So we're playing 3 of this. And the goals with this list is actually just a hard make merrymaker, and you guys will be able to see how. 3 Brandon High Spirits. These ratios weren't that great as the tourney went on. I was only playing 1 Sprint in the extra, and I think I might bump it up to 2. And also play probably 1 less of this, and then add actually Albion, the Albaz monster that dumps a branded spell, to place him on the bottom and draw. It might be good to just get some, fix some hands and all that. So playing 3 of this, probably cutting this down to 2 or 1. That's it for the Springans related spells. Up next is our Therian engine. We have 1 Therian Discalcium and 2 Therian King Regulus. He's a negate. He can target a machine in the grave and special him and then equip, and then Discalcium searches Regulus. The Sargus XYZ searches both of these, which is absolutely insane. He negates the activation and doesn't destroy, so that's something important to keep in mind if it's a monster, unless, it's sent to the grave for cost or whatever. And also the cool thing about this is that you can pitch him with High Spirits. High Spirits pitch Regulus, send Sprint, because Regulus is a machine, Sprint is a machine, and so that gets your plays going. So that's it for the Therian engine. You technically can also do rank 8 plays with Regulus and Sargus, but I don't really think that's worth it. Next is where things start to not get budget. We're playing 3 Kashtira Fenrir, and then this is the spice that made me want to play like this particular list. 2 Kashtira Riseheart. These cards are insane for the deck. Fenrir or Pressured Planet Raceoth plus any level 4 is Sargus, XYZ, Fenrir, Draco Future, and then maybe another Xyz, or if you have High Spirits, then also the normal Sargus to detach. It's absolutely insane. So the idea was I really wanted to find a way to make the special level 4s easy to just make merrymaker. I went with the Kashtira engine because I've seen some lists play Fenrir just as a board breaker, but Fenrir on itself is also an insane interruption, and it searches an insane extender. I decided to play this instead of like the Crystal Beast engine or the Madolche engine, because I felt those cards were the Madolche one seems circumstantial, in which you have to have no monsters in grave to use the level 4 that specials from hand. I'm forgetting her name, which seems bad in a grind game. And then the Crystal Beasts, they seemed really cool. I just think there's too many bricks. Whereas in this is sometimes a brick, but if you even open 2 of these, that's still combo. And then we're playing 3 Pressure Planet Raceoth just to be able to search our Kashtira monsters. Sometimes it's neat because the attributes in this list are like mostly fire and earth, and so you do get the boost from the planet, which is pretty nice. The next we're playing 1 set rotation and 1 terraforming. We play multiple field spells, and so this is just a way to kind of like search for what we need. You can technically use this to out the Kashtira field spell just by planning Discalcium, but I did have an instance against Speedroid where I used set rotation to give my opponent the Raceoth and then add Discalcium to push for lethal. So just pretty great. Next for our going second cards, we're playing 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. This card's incredible, especially in a format with Kashtira and Branded. I think this card's a must right now. 3 Nibiru. I was going to play Kurikara in this list, but Nibiru performed very well today. Against Sword Soul, I think I bricked on 2 Nibiru, but and it like didn't matter because they set up Baron before I could nib, but is what it is. But yeah, overall I think I'd keep Nibiru in. It's good against Kashtira, it's good against, honestly, Tyr, if Tyr is able to play right now. Currently, the way to set Rulu Kalos up is really convoluted, but I don't think Tyr's going to really show up in this format. 3 infinite impermanence for Mind Hacker, Shangira. It's great going second to draw for turn. Just a really great card. And also, I had instances, funny enough, against Labyrinth, where having this set in the same column as a normal trap at work, it worked really well. He wasn't like, I noticed later that I think part of the reason I was able to win against Labyrinth, even though I didn't have many back row removal, was that Lady Labyrinth, the new one, lets you protect herself when she has a set card, and she can't be targeted by effects. But he ended up activating a lot of his traps first, which led me to imperm it, and since he had nothing really on the field. Last 3 cards in the main deck, 3 Book of Eclipse. This is for the just, you know, combo boards. Really, it's for the Kashtira matchup. You could tell that this list is probably built for Kashtira, and I think this would have had a great matchup against Kashtira if I played against it. Or at least, I don't want to actually be too cocky and say it was a good matchup, but I think it would have. I think I would have had a chance, you know, with considering I had 12 flex spots for siding. So that is that for the main deck. We're going to move on to the extra deck. For the extra deck, we are playing 1 Sprint the Iron Dash. If it's into the graveyard, which you send it off Branded in High Spirits, you can add a Springans or special summon a Fallen of Albaz, or special Springans from your deck in the end phase. I'm bumping this up to 2 probably because I need the Branded in High Spirits to be live. And then for XYZs, we are playing 2 Divine Arsenal Zeus Sky Thunder. Funny enough, Zeus never came up. I don't think, because like by the times I was gonna try and make him, he just kind of got like either won or just set up boards that or got interrupted to prevent him. But the reason we're playing 2 is because of the Kashtira matchup. The Mind Hacker can rip him from the extra deck, and also Zeus is a great out to the Kashtira board. 2 Gigantic Champion Sargus. This guy is insane. He can search any Therian or Springans card, and then if a material is detached from an XYZ, you can target a card on the field and either bounce it to the hand or pop it. So this was also how I was able to outsend back row and push for game. You typically want to stack him up with materials and then use Tally Ho on him, and then that gets your plays going. 1 Springan Ship X-Blower. This was kind of like, this never came up. I like thought about, I was just kind of checking cards in my extra deck, trying to fill them before the tournament, and I was like, oh, this is a rank 8 that like you know, it's in archetype. But then I realized like there was really no reason to play this or a real good way to summon it. I'm gonna probably cut this for the Sprint. 1 Kashtira Rise Heart. This is again for the Kashtira matchup if that isn't obvious. Basically, if they activate Shangira, you can special summon your Fenrir or normally your Rise Heart and summon it on top of this. And this is also just to get you into Zeus lines. This deck doesn't play that great under Shifter, but if you open the Kashtira engine, you can play under Shifter and set up Tally Ho, you know, for their turn. But yeah, you mostly aren't keeping him around. I never made him, but you know, it's the theory that matters. 1 number 11 Big Eye. So the theory I had with this was I really wanted something to provoke interactions from my opponent. And so the idea was Fenrir plus Rise Heart is Big Eye, which threatens their board either through its effect, or at the very least, you can attack into something and make Zeus without committing anything to your board other than a special to Fenrir. And Fenrir gets the Rise Heart, so that kind of fuels itself. Never came up, but I think it's still kind of a good theory nonetheless. Next, the best card in the extra, I think, or one of the best cards, Springans Merrymaker. On summon, he can send a Springans monster from deck to grave, and then during your opponent's turn, you can attach materials from this card, banish him until the end phase, and then if you detach up to 2, you can dump an Albaz Fusion from your extra. We're always using this to dump whatever piece we need to make Tally Ho live to then attach to this. 1 Gear Gigant X, he's sort of follow-up play. He searches a level 4 lower machine, but then he also, which fueled our Branded in High Spirits, because sometimes I would get Kid after using Tally Ho off Sargus, and then we'd make this with Rocky and Brothers, and then High Spirits discard whatever we search. And also this is how we got into Draco Future Line. One Evil Swarm Exciton Knight. This guy was incredible last night against Labyrinth, because we had a little dispute because I summoned him in a full board and I wanted to use his effect, but he's like, oh, I want to use punishment in response to the summon while he had Silver Castle in the field, and I was like, no, I'm turn player, I get the chance to activate quick effects first. So keep that in mind. If you're a turn player and you have something like Exciton on the field, you get the chance to activate something before your opponent makes plays. One Abyss Dweller, I wasn't really, tier's not really a thing anymore, at least currently, and so, but Dweller's, in my opinion, still really good. So kind of there actually for just rogue matchups. This would have been great against Sword Soul if I ever got it up on the field. And then one Utopic Future and one Utopic Draco Future. You're summoning this when you hard make Merrymaker, and then Tally Ho summon the Merrymaker, Araki, and her brothers, and then once you use the Gear Gigant, you can go into this. This came up a lot last night. Because the great thing is also if you detach something from this, you can use Sargis's effect to pop cards on the field. That's it for the extra. Again, probably the only thing I'd change is take out the Springans XYZ, the rank 8 for Sprint, yeah. Side deck, played 3 Cosmic Cyclone just for back row. I might change this to Lightning Storm, because also I was kind of running into a spot where time was an issue. I'd maybe play Twin Twister, but you need the hand advantage in this deck. Playing 3 Cosmic, 3 Enemy Controller. This is kind of like some spice that I was put on, basically with, again, anticipating Kashtira, and Ibli being a thing. I was kind of curious if any deck would play Ibli and put Ibli on my board, and so I wanted a way to be able to out it. This almost came up against Plunder, where I was able to Nibiru'd, summoned Kit, and then if I had one more extender, I could have taken the token and then attacked for game. It would have been insane. So actually, I think this is a pretty good side deck card. The most insane trap card in my side deck. This won me so many games, and did it carry me a bit? Who's to say? 3D barrier. This is insane against Sword Soul branded. Keeping this as a must-have. 3 evenly matched. I wanted a equalizer to break boards, and this was a really good one. And it worked against, I'd say, a good decent amount of my matchups today. During the Plunder game that I lost, he bricked and ended on Whitebeard and a back row. And I had evenly matched Book of Eclipse. I actually decided to evenly match him because I wanted him to choose between the back row and keeping the Whitebeard, and then I booked his Whitebeard, which he then hit my Kit, which prevented me from outing the Whitebeard, but I still think that was a good play nonetheless. And then 3 Trap Trick to get our D barrier, and if we needed, evenly match. I might consider playing Canadia in the side deck rather than, I'm not sure, but Paleozoic Canadia, just a Book of Moon stuff, like against Sword Soul or whatnot, but we've yet to figure those things out. So anyways, guys, that is the deck profile. Like I said, the changes I would make are probably cutting on the High Spirits and then adding the Albion, and maybe squeezing in a Pedor if I had the chance. But this deck was so much fun to play. Let me guys know what you think about this deck in the comment section down below. I know this is kind of like a really strange way to play Springans, considering it's not using the in-archetype field spell, but yeah, so hit that like button, subscribe to Team Beige, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.